It's time for another eBay SuperSize sales of $100 or more. This is the September 2022 edition. And before we get started, I have a personal update. This is what I posted on the Facebook group, and I know many of you out there don't do Facebook, so you didn't see it. The post said, "Hi everybody. Well, it is happening again. The stars have aligned and I am moving from Atlanta to South Carolina. The original plan was to move in 2023, so I'm ahead of schedule. I'll give you more details in upcoming videos and podcasts, but right now I am in hustle mode, meaning packing and getting ready to go." To make moving easier, I am downsizing my bulky inventory and running auctions on a lot of my items starting at $9.97. Some are even less than that. I am also open to reasonable offers on all items. So I'm just working on liquidating the larger, bulky, or fragile items so I don't have to move them. I would rather sell them at cost and ship them than pack them up and move them to another state. So you can check out my store link below the video. You might find things you can flip or for personal use. I have over 100 auctions ending all week up until Friday, September 23rd. So I'll have time to ship everything before I exit the state of Georgia. And some people commented that they wondered if I was quitting eBay. No, of course not. It's in my DNA. I'm never quitting. The only thing that's going to change is my location. I'm just downsizing my inventory to make moving a little bit easier. I've been on track to sell smaller items anyway, so this is a good opportunity to just clean up my inventory and sell off those bigger or fragile or bulky items so I can start fresh when I land at my new location. Okay, enough about me. Now we're going to talk about you. The sales in this video came from the August SuperSize thread on my Facebook group, and there were 166 comments. So unfortunately, there just isn't time to include every single sale. And I do try to include new people and people who have had their biggest sale ever, and of course, teachable moments. So, enough of the intro. Now, back to our regularly scheduled programming of sales. We're going to start with Lynn Merritt. Doreen Virtue Oracle cards. And she didn't say how much she paid for these, probably not very much, but this card deck sold for $100. Angels of Abundance Oracle cards, Doreen Virtue new sealed box set. Next up is Tim and Rachel Beachy. Bought this on Friday at a local thrift for $2, listed it Monday, and sold within the hour for full asking price. I love selling vintage wrapping paper. This is vintage wrapping paper roll, department store, baby, toddler, nursery. So there's no brand name, it's just a vintage item that sold for $105.99. KC has a remote control. Paid $5 at a garage sale and sold for $109.95. I really find the $100 remote challenge gratifying. The embarrassing part of the story is that I bought it at one of those houses with several sales a year, which always looks like the same stuff priced too high. Sadly, I saw this last year and just wasn't wise enough to buy it. It was still there this year, and I was a bit smarter to finally pick it up. This is a rare Shanling RC10 remote control, sold for $109.95. And now we have Bevan Dunn. She said, "This sold in less than a day. This was the dress my mother-in-law wore to my wedding 20 years ago this month. She gave it to me for my shop when she visited a few months ago. It has a few spots that were disclosed but are hidden by the top. At least I knew what year it was from. This is vintage Citron Santa Monica silk dress, sold for $112. And now we have Brandon Haney selling off his Barbie haul. He is coming up on the podcast on September 21st to talk about his $9,000 Barbie haul. He said, "Part of my mega purchase in late May or mid-June for about $7. Hard to recall exactly when listed. It wasn't more than 2 to 3 weeks ago. Sold to a repeat buyer in Australia on a best offer, $10 under asking. This is a 2008 My Scene Chelsea doll, sold for $120. Okay, our cover photo has an interesting story. Becky Johnson. She said, "I just posted this for fun and then realized it might be a fun fit for the SuperSize video. It's a little long. I used to write for a living before eBay captured my heart. I thought this was a cute, unique kitchen timer and we paid $1 for it. Imagine my shock to discover it's a rare artsy home design piece created by an Italian man who was part of a fashion movement in Milan, Italy, called Memphis style in the 80s. Who knew Memphis was a style beyond Tennessee barbecue? Kind of pop art, fun, bold colors meets art deco, simple curved lines. And I learned that there currently is a bit of a revival over this style that is now being called kindercore. So good news for moms of preschoolers out there. If your house looks like a Montessori preschool, your decor is the hot new thing in home fashion. And good news for me, as this little kitchen timer that looks like a mod fried egg version of an easy button sells for over $100, and hers actually sold for $120. I found this in a tiny, messy, great-grandma style kitchen at an estate sale in a little old house filled to the brim with stuff. There was one room, which I assume was the craft room, that was something to behold. It looked like someone, perhaps fed up with trying to organize all the junk, got angry, stood up in the middle of the room, and threw all the craft supplies up in the air and let them land on all the furniture and floor and shelves willy-nilly. Then they turned on a high-power oscillating fan, shut the door, walked out, and never looked back. You just never know where treasures can be found. P.S. I sold for full asking price soon after I posted this on eBay. It is my new favorite ever kitchen timer." So there it is, Italy, Memphis style kindercore egg timer. $1 sold for $120, and Becky entertained us with a fun story. Okay, Scarlett Robury. Bought for maybe $6 at a thrift store, had them listed for a couple of weeks, and sold for $120. I'll post a message from the buyer as it made me very happy. This is 3 Tomy Nintendo Pokemon Polly Pocket playsets, sold for $120, and here is the message from the buyer. I had these 3 miniature Pokemon sets when I was growing up in the 90s, and I'm absolutely delighted to have them back again. The only thing I was barely disappointed was the tiny Viridian Forest sign was missing, but honestly it does not affect my overall happiness with my order. I'm just happy to have these again, and that it had the original Pokemon figures and every other little accessory piece. Also, best packaging for shipping I've ever seen. Everything was perfectly wrapped. So congratulations, Scarlett, on that sale and that glowing feedback. Lynette Hubbuck Bought at thrift store for $1.99. I noticed it because it was new and needlepoint. So the quality was good. Then I studied the graphic and pondered why a whale in 1891. Googled it, whale 1891 logo, and found out it was a golf course in the Hamptons. So I listed it high and crossed my fingers. I wanted 150 but decided not to be greedy and took a $124 offer. The moral is always be curious. Jackie Basie. I paid $2 the last day of an estate sale. Buyer accepted an offer for $114 that I sent. Sold in about 3 days. Buyer wanted to know whether it had been cleaned before listed. Yes, I used Dry L. St. John, always a good seller and always on my list of stuff to look for. Amy Crane Decker. Purchased while on vacation for $3. Listed high at $500 and took best offer on $125 within an hour. Quick nickel, slow dime. Paid for our food while we were on vacation. This is a Champion reverse weave sweatshirt and it sold for $125, and there is a resurgence of the vintage Champion stuff. It's not the new stuff. It's the way the old stuff was made, as is the case for a lot of vintage clothing. But who knew that Champion, which is kind of a lower end brand, could sell for so much? So keep that in mind. Okay, Kim Smith paid $3 at Goodwill, sold within a few hours of listing. This is a Stetson Royal Brown Panama straw hat. $128.25. Her investment was $3. Okay, Severe Baker. And tell me if I'm not saying that right. Sold for $128.99 on a clothing sale. Buyer was all in at $138.13. Got it for $40 at a boutique thrift store. This is the second one of these I've sold at this price. First one went to Mexico. And this is an Orvis Performance sport coat. So yes, Orvis is an established brand like Land's End, LL Bean, made for rugged outdoor stuff, high quality, durable brand. If you've never heard of it, Orvis. Lisa Lake. Purchased at Goodwill in January for $1, sold in July for $129.79. Had a number of lower offers in the last few months. I had no idea the value when I purchased. It's a rare brown bag cookie mold. When I was doing my research, could only find 2 that sold in the last year for $150 plus. That's why I didn't accept the lower offers. I just waited patiently. Item went to Hawaii. Buyer was happy, left positive feedback, and so was I, meaning she was happy. This is brown bag cookie mold spider web design, and it sold for $129.79, and it cost Lisa $1. Moving on to Susan Freeze. This was a fun find for me at a thrift store. It was way in the back of a lower shelf. It was dirty and greasy, but that cute face I couldn't resist. Upon looking up comps, I couldn't pass it up. It had a few cracks that had been repaired, but not extremely noticeable. I paid $2. The first auction it sold a bit less, and the buyer canceled saying she didn't have the money. I relisted it for the same amount of $99.99 and let it go. It didn't take long to get bids. This is a vintage Bambi deer, looks like ceramic piece, and it sold for $130.06. Okay, Wanda Bergman, our friend in Canada, paid $3.20 for this beautiful piece of art at my local Salvation Army store and sold it for $131.80 Canadian on best offer. I would have held out for a bit more, but I knew the buyer really liked it and couldn't afford to pay more. I'm trying not to be too greedy. It was still a great profit. I had it listed for 1 or 2 months. Canadian native authentic caribou hair tufting framed art. $3.20, sold for $131.80. Carlos Chavez, private pick, paid $10 and sold in about a week for $139.99. So, Carlos, if you could inform us, private pick, does that mean you went and shopped somebody's house? Sounds like that is what you might be referring to. This is a rare vintage 1981 Garfield telephone, $10 and sold for $139.99. Brian Rappaport bought a bunch of DVD box sets a few weeks ago at a garage sale for 25 cents each. So $2.25 for this set. Sold for $139.99. And it's the X-Files seasons 1 through 9. $2.25, sold for just under $140. Alan Hall, I purchased a box lot of car parts and other junk for $25. This lens was standing up against the side. I used to help someone restore 50s model Porsche and knew what it was right away. Or I guess I should have said Porsche. That's the correct pronunciation. It took some time to find the right buyer and hardly even got any views before it sold. So this is a Porsche 911 headlight lens. $140. Maria Del Vecchio. This is my first $100 sale. Yay, you made it, Maria. Congratulations. I've been selling for 1.5 years now, helping my mom clean out her kitchen. She was going to throw it out. Listed at $74.99. There were no comps. Sold in 1 week going to Japan. This is a vintage 1950s Serendipity turquoise roasting pan. So this was a house clean out, so no cost, and sold for $147.50. Christy Bolter, purchased for $5 at an estate sale with case and original manual and receipt. Sold for $149 in less than a day. I marked it a little low, but didn't want to sit on it. This is a vintage Polaroid land camera with case and flash bar. Very cool item. $5, sold for $149. Okay, Cora Allen. I found this at Savers for $7. I'd seen it in one of Suzanne's videos that some of the Pioneer Woman items could sell well, so I looked it up. One like mine had sold recently for $139.99. I priced mine a bit higher because it was the only one like it on eBay when I listed it. It took about 3 weeks to sell. I'll be looking for more. This is the Pioneer Woman ceramic rolling pin. Fall flowers, autumn harvest, retired. And Cora and others may have seen this in my BOLO book, the 2022 edition. It is on page 84, and these can sell for up to $300 if they're brand new and have the label and the packaging and all. So, Cora, you were right. You'd seen it, and 150 is nothing to sneeze at for a $7 investment. But for those out there, yes, this is definitely a BOLO. Take a look at your screen if you're not watching so you can see what this is and know to look for it out in the wild. Okay, Allie Petzold. Sometimes I buy the Hot Wheels Monster Jams at Walmart for $3.88 when I see good ones, so I recognize this truck as soon as I saw it in a local thrift. What I didn't realize was that these cars were once made by Matchbox, so they are super rare. I found two of these cars for $6 each, and they both sold to the same buyer for $150 a piece just a few days later. Easiest $300 ever. The item is Matchbox Monster Cars Carolina Crusher, 1993 rare. $3.88. No, wait. She said she got it at a thrift store. $6 and sold for $150. Diana Warren. This was a gamble for me because the item was opened and the Aida cloth was already taped. It had all the items listed and was unused. I put it back on the shelf 2 times and finally said to myself, "What are you doing? It's $4 and comps for new unopened are $240. Just take a chance. You'd only lose out on $4. Well, Diana, I have that conversation with myself quite often. Just do it. You're only going to be out a few dollars. Anyway, Diana said it sold for $154.50 on a 10-day auction. This is Dimensions Mother Earth Cross Stitch Kit opened, $4 and sold for $154.50. Linda Arnold paid $3 for a local online auction lot that included this Emilio Pucci scarf. Donated the other items, listed the scarf at $175. Accepted an offer of $158 after 1 month. This was cotton, not silk, but I kept it listed high because of the size, condition, colors, and original packaging. Very happy to get an offer over $150, and she paid immediately. So this is an Emilio Pucci scarf, 36-inch square, made of cotton. $3. Well, that was for everything in the lot, and it sold for $158. Dina Moore Ross bought for $5, listed the same night for $199 at about 10 p.m., and woke up to an offer of $165 at 7 a.m., which I accepted. I love quick sales. This is a Sony portable CD player Walkman. $5, sold for $165 overnight. Stacy Smith. My mother and I started reselling as a hobby in January of this year. This was one of our first purchases, and it sat in our death pile for many months. We paid $2.95 for it at a thrift store, finally listed it, and sold it in an hour. This is an Epson portable computer for parts only, and it sold for $174.99. And this is the perfect example of if you list it, they will come. So dive into that death pile, get those things listed. They could sell immediately. All right, Courtney Dam. I got this hard hat for $5 at a local thrift store. I had to look it up, seeing the 1970 Disney mark. I saw 2 sold at the same time for $100, and mine is in way better condition. Listed for $199, sold for $175. Disney Buena Vista Construction Company 1970 hard hat. $5, sold for $175. Terry Wilcox bought this at a local Goodwill for 99 cents. I put it up for auction and let the fun begin. Ended up with 27 watchers at the end. Fast and furious bidding right at the last minutes. This is a vintage, rare 1998 Dale Earnhardt Bass Pro Shop NASCAR t-shirt. 99 cents, and it sold for $181.50. Gloria Gonzalez was at the Goodwill bins, standing around leaning on the bin and talking to a friend. Flipped some stuff over, and there it was. I opened it up, and the figures were inside a tiny plastic bag. Took it home and put it on a 7-day auction starting at $99. I paid about $1.25. This is Bluebird 1996 Polly Pocket Disney Donald Duck, and it sold for $219 just for this little plastic toy. And this is why we do eBay. Never a dull moment. Laura Oka bought this at a thrift store this past January for $6, took about 6 months, and sold at full price. I was able to test out the feature on eBay to include a video showing the hands making noise when they hit. This is electronic Hulk hands in the original box. $249. And this is another item in the 2022 BOLO book. I've got a price of $150 on these because the used ones do sell for that much. But Laura had one brand new in the box, so her price was higher. But yeah, who would ever have thought that this crazy toy, the Hulk hands, and they make noise, and yeah, I remember when those came out in the early 2000s. So that's another one you can look for. These will definitely stand out in the toy aisle because they're just hands and they're green and they're very identifiable. It's not like Barbies where like they all look the same and you're totally overwhelmed looking at them. This is a unique item. Okay, Paul Wathan purchased this piece along with 10 others for $25. This has been a long tail item and worth the time. 1893 Frederick Remington hand colored engraving. So it's framed art. Sold for $275. So his investment was $2.50 and he sold it for $275. Next up is Amy Kagi. I bought this game at a church rummage sale for 25 cents. It sat for about 2 months with no nibbles at all and then sold for the full asking price. Vintage crossbows and catapults battle board game. $275 and it cost her 25 cents. Next up is Sherry Burns. Paid $4 for this Baby Morgan new in package blanket at a garage sale last summer. It sold this past week for $250, my biggest sale ever. Congratulations, Sherry. That is an amazing sale and an item on a lot of people's bucket list. This one was in the 2021 BOLO book on page 96, and these can sell for up to $350, probably more as time goes by because these are vintage and they're just going to keep getting more valuable. So Sherry found one and it sold for $250. So I love seeing that people are finding the items in my books because it means, number one, that I'm telling you the truth about what the items are and how much they sell for. And this is proof that these are out there and you can find them. You just have to have the knowledge of what to look for. Okay, Emily DeGusto paid $3 at Goodwill, listed a little lower than sold comps because the dust jacket was in rough shape, but sold for full asking price within 4 days. The Dune Encyclopedia Rare Hardcover, $3, sold for $280. Next up is Tanya Gibson. She has a little story. This actually sold a couple of days ago while we were traveling, and we had no internet at our destination, so she posted it that day. Anyway, paid $2 at a yard sale, listed for 2 days at $349.99 with free shipping. On the first day, I received a question about the condition of the dust jacket, which was an acetate cover. I decided that the cover needed to be removed because the jacket actually looked way cleaner and better without it. So I did that and retook the photos and let the prospective buyer know. Then he messaged to ask the range of offers I would accept, and I replies that the offers needed to be close to asking because I had just listed it. He made an offer for $275 the next day, and I waited overnight to counter at $300, which he accepted. I felt good about the price as it is higher than any of this edition, first edition, second edition print on WorthPoint or eBay aside from signed ones. To be fair, this one looks to be in better condition than the ones previously sold too, though, which is why I started at a higher number. Okay, so this sold for $300 and Tanya's investment was $2. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory book. Kim Smith has another hat. This beautiful hat was mixed in with kids' Halloween costumes, trucker hats, and other cheap straw hats. Paid $3 and it sold in less than 1 month. Borsellino made in Italy straw hat, and this sold for $315. She paid $3 for it. This is a great lesson because expensive things are going to be mixed in with cheap stuff, and it's our job as sellers to be informed and educated and know what to look for. So I actually love finding things in the wrong place because it just gives you motivation and hope to continue searching because you just never know what you're going to find and where you're going to find it. And I think that's the addiction for a lot of us. It's kind of like gambling, but not really. It's just the thrill of the hunt, and you just keep looking, and your reward is finding valuable stuff. Speaking of which, Hydron Tobin rescued this from the landfill. Almost missed it because it was in a grocery bag. Then I almost left it behind because it was so large and heavy. Decided to take it anyway because it was in good shape, and I recognized that it was a Mary Englebright design, and it turned out a special edition for Rival Crockpot. Plenty of watchers, a couple of lowball offers, sold for full price of $325 plus shipping of $49. Took about 4 months to sell, and I really think this is so adorable. Mary Englebright was popular in the late 80s and 90s, and I had her stuff all over my kitchen. I had the calendars and the planners, and then I think she started off doing stationery type items for the Hallmark store and then branched out into other hard goods. So this is just adorable. I love that pattern. I love her stuff. This is a vintage Mary Englebright Rival Crockpot 6-quart, sold for $325. And it probably wasn't too hard to ship. Just that insert is probably ceramic, so that would be the piece that you would have to wrap really well. But for that amount of money, I would totally ship this. Okay, we're going to move on to the $350 mega size sales. We are going to start with Holly Feger, and she actually emailed me with her excitement about this. She said, finally found a snuzzle, and it was still in the box. Bought at Goodwill for $5.99, sold in a day and a half at full price for $349.99. I would love to know why they go for such high prices, but we'll just assume it is the nostalgia factor. Either way, I am thankful as always, and I would have never known to pick this up if it were not for this group and Suzanne's BOLO's YouTube, where I learn what to look for. So this is a vintage play school snuzzles baby plaid stuffed bunny, 1996. She paid $5.99. It sold for $349.99. And yes, this is yet another item in the 2021 BOLO book. that people are finding, myself included. I found the cow and he sold for $225 overnight. So I love this item because the plaid makes it very easy to see when you're searching through all the plush. So much plush is just a solid color, and this is that plaid that jumps out at you. And these are the kinds of items I put in my BOLO books, are the things that are easily recognized. So happy for Holly that she found one new in the box. It just shows that these things are out there. Okay, Cora Allen paid $20 for this at Savers. HP quit making this model in 2015. It is sought after for those in the fields of engineering, science, and business. Used ones sell for well over $100. Mine was still factory sealed with corroded batteries, which I disclosed, so I listed it for $350. It sold in just a few days for my full asking price. Might have gotten more, but I'm very happy with this sale. The exact item is HP 50G graphing calculator, discontinued in 2015, which means it's only going to get more valuable. Tina Wozniak, our resident Hot Wheels expert, and she is coming on the podcast in October to answer questions about Hot Wheels. We have a thread going on the Facebook group where you can ask her questions, and we're going to go over those in the podcast, just like we did with Lewis and Barbies and KC and Lego. And hey, if you're an expert on something and you want to come on the podcast, reach out to me. Let's talk about it, because everybody has a different area of expertise, and if you're willing to share, everybody can make more money. Anyway, Tina said, second car out of the lot of 49 cars hubby bought for $580 for $350. We are now in profit with 2 sold and another 9 of the really good cars to go. So yeah, Tina's going to define what really good cars means. This is a Hot Wheels 1995 Treasure Hunt Series VW Bug. $350 for a little Hot Wheels car. Next up is Kim Pomeranz. Finally getting to post a mega sale. Yay, welcome to the club, Kim. This is my biggest sale yet. And yes, I did share it on the regular thread too. Anyway, I got this at a thrift store for $5.49, listed high at $4.49 after calling in to Dr. Lori, who said it was worth around $400. Originally accepted a $350 offer after a few months, but the buyer never paid, so I relisted at my original price, got an offer for $358, which I gladly accepted, less than a month after relisting. My only concern is that it's going through a freight forwarder overseas. eBay shows it's been delivered with insurance and signed confirmation, so I'm hoping I'm covered on my end. This is a DAUM, D-A-U-M, crystal frosted teddy bear figurine, 5.5 inches tall, sold for $358. Okay, Kathleen Gifford. Thank you, Suzanne Wells. I watched your July SuperSize sale video last week. Yesterday, I attended an estate sale that was held by the family. I saw a Lennox Spice Jar Village that was featured in your video. I definitely would have passed this set by if I had not seen your segment only a few days ago. There was a sign for $50. I asked if the price was firm, and they told me to make an offer. It was the last day of the sale. I got the brand new 1989 set for $20. Best part of the story is it sold within 2 hours of listing. Quickest flip and best sale I ever had. Thanks again, Suzanne. The site is the best. Well, it is my pleasure. I love to see that this happens where we just all learn from each other. This is a vintage 1989 Lennox Spice Village 24-piece complete. $20, and it sold for $400. Casey is back with a not electrical item, a book. My favorite thrift store book find so far. I get all of my books for free as it's my job to dispose of all of their donated books each day. They have no space to sell the extreme volume that they receive. I received an offer for $300 in the morning and was contemplating on countering at $325 to $350. I forgot about it during the day and then it sold for full price that evening to the original buyer who submitted the offer. Sold in less than 1 week for $400. This is 1911 Peter and Wendy, so it's like Peter Pan. First edition, $400. Carla City found this clock last week at St. Vincent de Paul for $12.23. Had it on auction for 5 days. Not even an hour later, I got an offer for the beginning bid of $350. Politely declined, but 4 hours later, the same person offered $450. Thanks to this group, I made the decision to let it ride, and it sold for $500. And this is a Jaeger Le Cotre Atmos model. It is a clock. I probably butchered that name, but it is a pretty little clock. $12.23 and sold for $500. Louis Prizzy paid $10 at an estate sale, made up the price of $599.95, accepted a best offer today after 2 days. This is a Beatles figurine set. $500. He paid $10 for this. Kim Womack, her biggest sale ever, paid $170 for a lot of retired patterns from nursing home sale. Took 3 weeks to sell at $550. I have also sold 3 other serving pieces for $150, plus I have 4 more 5-piece place settings and multiple serving dishes. I hate to ship, but so worth it. Okay, this is retired Franciscan October dinnerware, sold for $550. And here we have KC. And I thought this was going to be the highest priced item, but it wasn't. Anyway, he got a box of all this free stuff, phones. So he's got a picture of the box there. And then everything in the box sold for a total of $629.70. So here's another item that's going to blow your mind. Dawn McMaster. So happy right now. Paid $1 for this 6-inch plate at an estate sale. Everyone was disinterested. I assumed it was a typical Ray Dunn piece, but when I turned it over, saw a hand and the word ear. Turns out in 1994, her first year, Ray Dunn signed her pottery pieces that way. Ear is Ray spelled backwards. I started an auction and it ended today for $1,275. And she paid $1 for this. So here's her actual listing. And you can see, yes, it sold for $1,275. And here's what she's talking about on the back of the plate or anything that was made in that early period. It's got the hand and then EAR, which is Ray spelled backwards. So I did not know that. There's a lot of Ray Dunn out there now, and if you don't study it, you don't know the difference between the new sort of cheap, not very valuable stuff and this. I do have a course in the premium library about Ray Dunn. So if you have not taken advantage of that free trial, you can do that anytime and go in and take any courses you want, download anything you want, no obligation to continue. It's just a way to show people what's in there because I really want you to have the experience of the information and knowledge that the premium library provides, because it will make you a smarter seller. Okay, the final item in this video is from Casey. He says, I forgot to post this last month. I purchased a case of 9 total vintage projector lenses for $30 at a yard sale. I sold this lens on a 7-day auction for $4,651. On the last day of the auction, someone asked for a few extra pictures when the current bid was about $1,800, which I already couldn't believe. The email said, I need to know how much to budget. That's when I knew something special was about to happen. I sold 5 others for more money per lens, but the buyer has asked not to publish the details. It was by far the best yard sale find of my life. So this lens, which was part of a lot he paid $30 for, sold for $4,651. And I think that is a record breaker for the $100 SuperSize thread and videos. I can't remember anything selling for more. There was a Rushton doll, rubber face doll, that sold for $3,500. So if I'm wrong, please correct me, but we are going to end on that note of a $4,651 sale. Okay, that wraps it up. Don't forget to check out my eBay store for auctions, and as I'm liquidating, I will accept any reasonable offers. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, I love your comments, so post them below. Have a profitable and productive day on eBay. Bye.